That's right. Hitting you harder than Alvin Kamara out in Las Vegas, baby. It is the Flex Zone, the only place giving you sports how you
How
want
you
it.
want it?
When
When you
need
need
I,
it.
I was I was waiting for Crevonte to pick his jaw up off the floor because his boy was out there bobbing and weaving like Mike Tyson or Mayweather, man, in Vegas.
Oh
Might
Lord.
have to sign him up for a fight. And look, and went to play the next day like nothing happened. Did his old Ghost and Tariq mode. We are the Flex Zone, only place giving you sports how you want it when you need it. We're back with another fire episode here in Baltimore and beyond. And we're at episode 330, 330. And we get into those O's here on the Flex Zone, baby. Again, if you want to be part of the experience, the Flex Zone 1 at gmail.com. If you're watching us on all social media platforms, the Flex Zone 1. And of course, hit that thumbs up, hit that bell, subscribe. The Flex Zone podcast on YouTube. This episode, very, very, very special, illustrious guest as we renew season 2 of Sports and Blackness. None other than the man himself, IngravenVids, joins the Flex Zone. But before we get to him, let's get to the panel. The wonderful fellas will join me each and every week here in the Man Cave, virtually, of course. Bad leadoff. It's not rated R. It's rated Raj, baby. What's going on, my good brother?
I hate the picture. I hate it.
Oh, he
Yeah.
did. He changed it. He did. He took
Yeah.
our
No,
advice.
no,
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
No,
Oh,
Everybody.
you just wanted the people to see your face. You just want to see the
No,
okay.
no, no, no.
right, like
I had to make a pit stop, guys. I had to make a pit stop. But Big Raj is here. I'm rated Raj tonight. We have a big guest coming on very shortly. So I'm very excited to do this show tonight. And it's gonna be lit. Definitely.
Salute, Mr. Boyd. Thank you for tapping in with us. This next man, he is the voice of reason. He is the captain of the Goofy ship. But remember, America, he has a brand new nickname. Not only the HNIC, but he is Commander Crevonte. Baby, what's up, brother?
is that really about to stick? Yo.
Yes,
Yes.
Commander Crevonte, CC, and the place to be.
All right, I'm fine with it. I'm really excited for our guest. Our guest is waiting in the green room right now. I'm just ready to get started. Y'all know how I feel about Monday nights. It is go time.
Hey, speaking of go time, this man stays on go. Start your day with a cup of Dre. He is more phenomenal than AJ Styles. He's the A-lister. Got his beanie on, looking like Tommy out there in Chicago. Keeping warm. It's LaAndre Melton, the executive producer himself here at the Flex Zone. What's going on, my good brother?
Hey, what's going on, America? Appreciate you for that wonderful introduction, Byron. And of course, we the ones.
That's right. Still America's most wanted. Still the hit of the Flex Zone and the Sports Podcast table. Make sure you acknowledge us. But this next illustrious guest here on the Flex Zone, he's kicking off season 2 of our Sports and Blackness series. This man, I mean, shout out to Raj because he's the one who put me on to his illustrious, wonderful, well-crafted videos. I look for him each and every day. I made sure to hit that bell, especially being a Ravens fan, and just seeing not only a brother talk about it, but a brother of color break it down so eloquently. It's always amazing. And he's blessing us this evening in the virtual building here with the Flex Zone. Give it up for the one, the man, the myth, the legend as he joins us here on the Flex Zone. IngravenVids. Let's give it up, everybody.
Nah, y'all ain't got to do all that, man. I appreciate y'all having me on, though, man.
Oh, man. And hey, Brian, he's here. He just tapped in with us here on the Flex Zone. Thank you so much, Mr. Ingraven here on the Flex Zone. What's going on, my good brother?
Hey, same old stuff, man. Just another day. Appreciate
That's
y'all doing this too. Thank you for reaching out and being willing to have me on y'all show. I appreciate that.
We appreciate it. We are part of the team. Keep it clean. And we love your videos. We always support what you're doing here on the Flex Zone. Like I said, shout out to my good brother Raj. I mean, for the people who don't know, how do they keep up with you? How can they follow your videos? Keep up with everything you got going on each and every day, bringing that high content, my good brother.
Oh man, yeah, we do post videos every single day, even in the off season. I'm a Ravens fan. We talk a lot about Ravens, but we talk about just NFL in general as well. If you want to check it out, the YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything is IngravenVids. It's all one word. It's Team Keep It Clean. So it's a podcast. It's a channel that's for everybody, for people young, for people old, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives. It's for everybody. So nobody has to feel like, oh man, even if you don't know much about football, you could still come through, come learn something. Even if you know a lot about football, you could still come through, come share something. It's for everybody, whether you have a deep knowledge and a deep understanding of the game and also the game within the game too, because it's a lot that happens in the business side of football that we try to break down as well. And we just really try to have fun on there. We try not to take anything too seriously, but just really make it a good time. And that's what it's about.
Well, we appreciate you tapping in. If you're watching, make sure you guys like this video. Look down below on the ticker to keep up with us here on the Flex Zone. Hit that bell for all notifications. We're going to get right to it, brother. We got you here. You got the track jacket on, which looks so clean, by the way. Make sure you send me one size large. This Ravens season was a crazy one. Started 8-3, losing the last 6 games, finishing 8-9. Ingraven, if you could put it in your own words from your perspective, your knowledge, your insight, the Ravens season recap and Ingraven's words.
Crazy. It's crazy. It was a lot of insanity that happened with this Ravens season. They started off with a bunch of injuries before the season even started. Losing Marcus Peters, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Ronnie Stanley never really came back right. Derek Wolfe, he had his whole situation going on. It was just a lot of injuries before they even took the field. And then they ended up losing Rashad Bateman, their first round draft pick, for about like 5-6 weeks. So he was out for a little bit. And it was just wild, man. It was wild, but they still, like you said, they made it to 8-3. They were actually, and it's so weird to think about that. They used to be at one point not only at the top of the AFC North, but the top of the AFC. And then everything just came crumbling down. Lamar Jackson, of course, he got hurt. He ended up being out for the rest of the year. They rolled with Tyler Huntley, and Tyler, he did his thing. He did all right. He isn't Lamar Jackson, but he was still a pretty good backup. But they didn't find ways to win, and they kept over and over. They kept finding ways to lose the games, and it was frustrating to see. I know that injuries played a huge part in the Ravens season, obviously, but I do not feel like, especially 6 games in a row, I do not feel like there was an excuse for 6 games in a row. Like if you lost, especially with you having your backup quarterback, if you lost like 2 games, okay, cool. You lost 3 games, okay, but 6 in a row, especially when you had opportunities you could have went into overtime for them, and they ended up going for all those 2-point conversions. It was just a crazy season, just to put it in shorter words.
Got you. Raj, you got a question for Ingraven?
Yeah, man. I'm not sure if you remember me, but I saw you last year at the Ravens practice at the stadium, I believe. And I think I told you when I saw you, I was like, bro, we look so good, we might even make it to the Super Bowl. Of course, that didn't happen because, half of the team got hurt. But my question to you is this. What do you think is going to take for the Ravens to not only get back to the playoffs, but, overcome some of their mistakes that they continue to make when it's like they have the right rhythm sometimes, but it's like they always find a way to beat themselves. So what do you think they can do to pretty much not beat themselves and make the playoffs and probably have a great run?
That's a real good question, and I do remember you because it was at that open practice where you had told me about the flex zone in the first place.
Right.
So yeah, good meeting you and good obviously linking up with you now. They got to just fix a lot of the silly mistakes. Ravens, a lot of times they can be their own worst enemy. A lot of times before the play even starts, because we know football is hard. It's hard enough because for a play to be successful, usually 11 guys, they got to be on the same page, and 11 guys got to make something happen. But for Ravens, a lot of times they start shooting themselves in the foot before they even snap the ball. Sometimes they may have a false start. They may have illegal shift, illegal motion. They'll have these pre-snap penalties, and it's like, oh man, what are y'all doing? But even before that, they need to have more of a sense of urgency, because too many times you see when Lamar's snapping the ball, he'll snap the ball and it'll be like 2 seconds left on the play clock, 3 seconds left on the play clock. So it doesn't really give him a chance to really scan the field or really see the field and read the defense like that. And that with him and with the offense just giving themselves so little time, because a lot of times they're rushing. They're rushing. It's not like they're sitting there and the play clocks are like 13 and Lamar's under center. Well, he's not even in the center. Well, and it's not like Lamar's like lined up and he's in the pistol and waiting for the ball to be snapped with like 13 seconds left. No, they're usually rushing. So with that stuff, they just got to clean up the small stuff. On defense, tackling is just it had been a big issue all year long. It was ugly from the beginning of the season. Then it seemed like, all right, they getting ready to clean it up, and then it just went back down the drain again. So tackling, and then even on defense too, a lot of similarities with the offense when it comes to communication. A lot of times on defense, you see players before the ball is snapped, they sitting there talking to each other. A lot of times you see them with their hands up in the air because they don't know what to do. So hopefully with this new defensive coordinator, he can simplify some things, but he can simplify it to where it's still effective. I think that was a big thing with wing scheme. Wing scheme was just very, very complicated. And so many players have said that over the years, that it is a very complicated scheme. But when you got guys that just seem like they don't know what to do and they're overthinking things, that doesn't allow them to play their best football. So I think it's just about really simplifying stuff and just really fixing the fundamentals.
Go ahead, Dre. Hop in there.
Hey, good to meet you, sir, and thank you for being on the show today.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
With the emergence of the Bengals, do you think the Ravens can still take the AFC North, or has that window closed now that Joe Burrow has emerged?
I'm sure you probably heard this before, but with Lamar Jackson, the window's never closed. I don't feel like the Super Bowl window's not closed, the playoff window's not closed, and like you mentioned, the AFC North window, it's not closed. Now, the Ravens do certainly, they have to up their game a lot, a whole lot, because Bengals, like, it's crazy that the Ravens have been kicking and fighting, and they've had Lamar for 4 years, and the highest they've reached is a divisional round. Joe Burrow literally just got here, and now in his first full season finishing in the Super Bowl. So that lets you know the different direction that these organizations are headed right now. So Ravens, they got to up their game. And I think it starts with the passing game for sure. I think they really got to find a way to get their playmakers, their wide receivers involved, and do a better job at it. And they got to let their best players play. The doghouse, Harbaugh is infamous for his doghouse. That's got to go, man. That's really got to go, because I feel like stuff like that is, again, it's a lot of little stuff that hinders the team when it comes to the bigger picture. But they got to continue cleaning up the little mistakes. But as far as messing with the Bengals, you got to be able to put up a lot of points. You got to be able to put up a lot of points. With the Bengals, I feel like they're a team that even if you got a good defense, you can hold them down, but they still gonna get theirs. So if you got an offense that can't score more than 20 points, that can't score more than 25 points, then it's just not going to work out. So I think that's where the Ravens need to start. They need, in order to really rock with the Bengals like that, you got to be able to put up points. You have to, because we saw in the game where Lamar Jackson did play. I can't really count the last Bengals game because Lamar wasn't out there. There's a bunch of people that just wasn't out there. But in the last one that Lamar did play, first and second quarter, it was a close game. Even to the third quarter, it was a close game. But then mistakes start happening, and Ravens stop scoring, and the Bengals, they end up just taking off. So it's to really mess with the Bengals like that, and really the whole AFC North, because the Bengals right now, they seem to be that high-flying offense, the most high-flying offense in the AFC North. It was looking like it was going to be the Ravens, especially after 2019, but that kind of slowed down in 2020 a bit. But right now it's the Bengals. So Ravens have to do everything that they can offensively to be able to just build the juggernaut of a team on offense.
Go ahead, Crevonte.
Yo, Mr. Ingraven, again, thank you once again. You're looking quite clean, brother, I must say. Shout out to you and your barber, first and foremost. So one thing, and I'm the lone DC fan, Washington Commanders fan recently, if you haven't heard.
Yeah.
So, but I always admire the Ravens organization because it's not dysfunctional like mine is. So I see something. Well, I saw something this year that was very uncharacteristic of the Ravens, and that was on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
No matter who was on the field, Ray Lewis, post Ray Lewis, there's a culture in Baltimore, and that the Ravens have cultivated where they're tough. One thing I've never seen the Ravens do, no matter who's on the field, is miss tackles and give up big plays.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that a lot. I saw that a whole lot this year. And I just got to thinking, all right, so it must be something dealing with coaching. I mean, obviously, yes, there are injuries, but play like a Raven is a real thing. And I've seen that being growing up in DC, Prince George's County area, and going to school in Baltimore. I've seen that my whole life from the Ravens. So no matter who's out there, they do play like a Raven. So my question, if you happen to have any insight, do you think John Harbaugh has lost the locker room?
John Harbaugh lost the locker room. I don't think he's lost the locker room, but I do think that the message may start getting a little bit stale. It's important that's why this season is just so important. How they moving forward. Because last year it's like, all right, you got an injury pass, even though I don't really think an injury pass should have been given, but okay, you got the injury pass. All right, cool. So let's see what you do now. As far as the defense and just everything that it really wasn't last year, with, like you mentioned, the missed tackles, the giving up the big plays, a lot of it was personnel because a lot of guys were hurt. Marcus Peters, he was out. That's Ravens, their big play corner. Marlon Humphrey, after a while, he ended up going out too. They had Anthony Averett. He was up and down this season. Jimmy Smith was out for a little bit. Chris Westry, he was out for a little while. Tavon Young, he did his thing, but their secondary was very, very shaky. They lost their starting safety as well. Ended up having to start a rookie who had played running back a couple years ago, and last year he played cornerback in college, and he played a little bit of safety. But this year he was a full-time safety. So they had a lot of shuffling when it came to the roster. But I think the bigger issue when it came to Ravens defense was them being stubborn. And what I mean by that is with Wink. Wink is weird. It's so weird because it's like he's not a bad defensive coordinator, but the failing to adjust that just ended up biting the Ravens in the butt, because what Wink would do, Wink loves to blitz. He lives by, die by the blitz. That is his thing. He blitz. But with Wink, he would blitz and the blitz just wouldn't get there. And it's been like that for the past couple of years. But even though the secondary was depleted, so many guys were hurt, he would still continue to blitz and he would leave guys on islands. And guys would be struggling on those islands in one-on-one coverage, but he would still continue to leave them in one-on-one coverage. So it was like, man, what's going on here? But you know what the craziest thing is that he did that when Marlon Humphrey was out there. He did that when Anthony Averett was still out there. He did that when they had more guys out there. He would still continue to blitz. But it wasn't until they lost most of their guys in like the second half of the season where he actually scaled it back, and the defense, they actually played a lot better. So Wink was a huge part of the Ravens' defensive struggles. Injuries were a huge part as well, but Wink certainly played his role too.
Well, speaking of defensive coordinator, I have a two-part question for you.
Mm-hmm.
You hire Mike McDonald from Michigan, former
Right.
Ravens linebackers coach, comes back, youngest defensive coordinator in history. And then also, all the fans want to know, Ingraven, we want to know your thoughts. Should Greg Roman be fired? Because you just talked about the offense with some of their fallacies. Mike McDonald, and your thoughts on Greg Roman.
Mike McDonald, oh man, it was like I was a little shocked, but at the same time, I wasn't shocked because he had been with the Ravens since 2014. He just ended up taking a year off to go be a defensive coordinator with Jim Harbaugh. And we know with the Ravens, they love to promote from within at defensive coordinator. They love to do that. They've been doing that for years. So this was technically different, but it was really the same stuff since he had been with the team from 2014 to 2020. And then in 2020, went over to be with Michigan, then came back this year to be with the Ravens again. So I'm hoping. I've heard a lot of good stuff about him. He said that his goal is to give opponents multiple looks and just keep them off balance and keep them guessing. And with Mike McDonald, he has a clean slate because he hasn't been a defensive coordinator in the NFL before. He hasn't been a defensive coordinator with the Ravens before, so he has a clean slate. But I'm hoping that he puts his guys in positions to have success. Because that's something that Wink tend to struggle with when he was a defensive coordinator, especially last year. And I just want it to be to where even if some guys go out, he can adjust to the situation. Now with Wink, had he had all of his guys, I think then he's probably still here. But I think his failure to adjust to the situation led to him and the Ravens parting ways. Now, as far as Greg Roman, when Harbaugh confirmed it that he was going to be staying another year, and since it had been so quiet with Greg Roman, I think most Ravens fans figured, oh yeah, he ain't going nowhere. And whenever you heard about Greg Roman, especially recently, from Ravens media, they had really been pushing Greg Roman. Oh, hey, Ravens, despite all the injuries, Ravens still had the 6th best ranked offense in the league. And then the Ravens media were just pushing Greg Roman heavy. So that kind of gave us clues like, oh, okay, yeah, Giro ain't going nowhere. Well, okay, that's cool. But me, I was definitely somebody that wanted to see the Ravens move off of Greg Roman because I figured that everybody was going to get a pass. Harbaugh was going to get a pass. Wink was going to get a pass. Giro was going to get a pass. But with the Ravens, they sort of forced Wink out. So I was thinking, oh, okay, well, I guess he's not getting a pass. So, all right, Wink can't be the last guy then. It might as well be Giro too. But maybe these Ravens, they just really felt like, all right, hey, look what Giro did without Lamar, without a lot of guys. He still had a top-ranked offense. And he technically did by yards, but by points, they were in the middle of the pack. They were 17th. So that's just it's not good enough. Now, everything's not all on Giro. The players, they still got to play. But a lot of times, Giro just doesn't have a good flow of the game. A lot of times he'll get out of rhythm from the game. A lot of times he'll do the opposite of what's working against a team. And that would be just one of the most frustrating things to watch and see a lot of times. With the slow starts, there was a period of time where the Ravens just every week in the first quarter, you would hope, all right, let's get a touchdown this week, but nope, nothing. It would either be a field goal at the most, no touchdowns though. Every first quarter it was like that. They would start off so slow, and then they wouldn't start waking up until later on in the game. A lot of people talked about the up-tempo offense. And we know with the up-tempo offense, we've seen it before, especially with Lamar Jackson. We've seen that up-tempo offense, and they love it. Lamar Jackson, you could tell he loves it. Mark Andrews, all of them, they love it because they're moving and they're moving quickly. It's quick decisions. And that wasn't something that needed to be used like every single drive, but it was something that they could have incorporated a lot more, but they didn't for whatever reason. So it's things like that where it's just like I was ready to move off from Greg Roman, but the fact that they're keeping him, I do feel like this could possibly be it. I feel like they're really going to evaluate him again and see what he does when everybody does come back. And hopefully everybody does not only come back, but stay back. So there won't be any excuse for anybody. Now, one thing that I think about too with that, something that I'm a little bit worried about, because Greg Roman, we know that he is a run-first offensive coordinator. His run game's outstanding. It's wonderful. But the pass game has always been where there's been an issue. Every team that he's been at, with the 49ers, with the Bills, the pass game is usually efficient, but still it's usually bottom of the pack. It's usually nothing special. And it makes me wonder if the Ravens trust Lamar Jackson as a passer. because they are still rolling with Giro. They keeping Giro. They sticking with Giro. So I wonder if they trust him as a passer and they trust him to really continue taking more steps forward as a passer. So just something I was thinking about.
Go ahead, right?
Well, since we're talking about Lamar Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
great question coming up. We know what he can do. We've seen what he can do. He struggled a little bit this year because he wasn't beating the zero blitz, and we know how Miami got to him, and
Oh, yeah.
we seen the struggles that he had. But and I hate to say this, but because a lot of Ravens fans kind of made me upset this year about, oh, we should let Tyler Huntley, play the position next year. We should trade Lamar Jackson, yada yada yada. And I know how you feel about the situation, but our audience doesn't know how you feel. So please elaborate. Should Lamar Jackson get this $40+ million contract or not?
What you won't do, somebody else will. If Ravens they want to play around with Lamar and the money, okay, do that. They're gonna end up leaving, and you're gonna see what he can do somewhere else. But with Lamar Jackson, with the question if he deserves the money, you look at the Ravens team, and when Lamar Jackson is not in, the Ravens do not win. Straight, that's it. That's it. And it's so simple, but it's obviously levels to it as well. Lamar Jackson, even though this year he was struggling at times, but what sense does it make? Like something to think about. Like how does a team, how does your starting quarterback throw 4 interceptions in a game, 4, and y'all still win? What kind of sense does that make? It doesn't. Lamar Jackson was obviously this year he threw more interceptions than he ever has. His touchdown to interception ratio, it was not pretty. But with Lamar Jackson, they were still winning. And you just knew, like, as time went on, he was going to get himself fixed. It ain't like this dude was going to be in this slump forever. And he was actually, even in this slump, he was on pace to throw for like 4,000 or 5,000 yards and run for over 1,000 again. So was it really that big of a slump? But even with Lamar Jackson's struggles, the Ravens still found themselves atop of the AFC. They were the number 1 seed in the conference. So just imagine how good they can, because Lamar ain't reached his potential yet. He really hasn't. He has not reached his potential yet. So, and this is why it kind of worries me about the whole Greg Roman thing too. But with Lamar not having reached his potential yet, and they still found ways to win because of him, because you saw when he was out, they found all these ways to lose. But when he was in, they found ways to win, and they found ways to win the close games. They found ways to win the comeback games. So a lot of the narrative that had been put out there about one Lamar Jackson, a lot of those got shut down. Now, the biggest narrative, and it's not really a narrative because it's true. Hey, the playoffs, they got to get better in the playoffs. So they're 1-3 in the playoffs. He got to flip that. He got to fix it. But he is definitely worth the money. He is. Ravens have had opportunities, and this year, granted, they did their thing. I give them that. They did a great job of building a roster. They could have had better quality on the offensive line. But besides that, they did a pretty great job of building a roster. But literally everybody got wiped out. So I'll give them a pass for that. But even in previous years, they've had opportunities to build around Lamar a lot better than they have. Because Lamar's been cheap. The highest his cap hit has been over the past 4 years has been 1.7 mil. So very, very cheap. But the Ravens didn't take full advantage of that opportunity to really build around him to the max. So now his cap hit is getting ready to be about 23 mil. And you know they want to get a deal done so they could lower that cap hit. But I don't think they will. I think Lamar would love to sign, but I think Lamar is going to want to wait this thing out and really see what the Ravens do around him.
It would be smart to do that.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think Lamar's being very strategic right now. So hopefully we won't have to franchise him, but they're gonna come to an agreement sometime in the near future.
I hope so. 'Cause that can get ugly.
Real ugly.
But also, it's also smart on his part to see what the other quarterbacks are looking like too.
Oh yeah.
You know, he's not the only one that's up for contracts. And shoot, by this time, some folks be looking at re-upping their contracts. So yeah, he's playing this how he's supposed to.
Mm-hmm. And another thing too, it would be smart for him. Another reason why it would be smart for him to wait is because as of right now, if he were to sign with the Ravens right here, right now, this is going to be the cheapest that the Ravens can get him for, because he's coming off of a down season. So if the Ravens, if they could take advantage of that, be like, all right, Lamar, you coming off of a down season, there you go. Here's what we're gonna pay you. But if he comes back next year and does what he normally does and has a bounce back year, then that price it goes up. So Ravens will have to fork up even more cash. So it would be in Lamar's best interest just to wait this thing out.
Agreed. With the other earlier, you talked about Joe Burrow, but there are plenty of good quarterbacks in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think Lamar can match up against the emergence of these other young quarterbacks?
Just by continuing to play his game. He doesn't have to be a Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't have to be Justin Herbert. He doesn't have to be any of these other AFC quarterbacks or Joe Burrow. He just got to be Lamar Jackson. Now with Lamar Jackson, his game, it does need some fine tuning. He's not the perfect quarterback. Right now, he's not the best quarterback in the AFC. He got some stuff that he definitely needs to work on. And again, it's little stuff that he can work on and take his game up to that next level. Stuff like the accuracy of the short passes. That would be something that would just it sounds like such a simple fix, but it would just take his game to another level. Because a lot of times with the shorter passes, with the check downs, passes in the flats, sometimes he'll lead the receiver too much. Sometimes he'll throw it behind him, but he just got to get better at putting it on the money to his receivers, whether it's running backs, whether it's receivers, tight ends, whoever it may be, whatever pass catch, he got to get better at that. Another thing that he needs to do is not try to play hero ball so much. It's okay to live to see another down, to throw the ball away, to get rid of it. Because if you hold on to the ball, because we know he always want to make something happen, and I get that, and that's great. But sometimes you hold on to the ball for a little too long, you end up taking a sack. You end up fumbling. It's a strip sack. A lot of stuff can happen, and sometimes big plays happen, as we've seen. But that would be something that I feel like could help his game and just take him to another level. So yeah, to keep up with the quarterbacks in the AFC, he just got to keep doing his thing. And also the Ravens, they need to help him out as well, because if you look at the other quarterbacks in the AFC, you look at their weapons, then you look at Lamar Jackson's weapons, and you think about it, it's like, oh, I don't think any quarterbacks would be jealous of the Ravens' weapons at all. So Ravens need to really just do everything that they can, because Lamar Jackson has spoiled the Ravens for the past 4 years. He spoiled them. It's time for them to spoil him back.
Go ahead, Crevonte.
Okay. Go ahead,
Crevonte.
Let's see. I was so engulfed in the conversation. I was like, shoot, he's right. I think it's similar to kind of similar to what's going on in Green Bay, where they're so used to Aaron Rodgers and what he does and how good he is and how he continues to win year after year, and he continues to have an MVP type season. Mm-hmm. So it's like whatever we give him, he's going to have an elite season, and we're at the very least going to be penciled in the divisional round of the playoffs. Mm. What can the Ravens do, and whether it be player personnel, coaching, what can they do to not be the Green Bay Packers?
That's a really good comparison, an analogy. Just finish. Quit beating themselves. Stop with the silly mistakes. But really build an offensive powerhouse. With a lot of the guys that they have coming back, that'll help. Because I know with the Ravens, their run game, it took a big dip this year because they lost to J.K. Dobbins, they lost Gus Edwards, they lost Justice Hill, they lost their top 3 running backs. So that definitely hurt. Ronnie Stanley, them losing him was huge. But for Ravens to to really not be the Packers, build that offensive line. That's literally where everything starts. Lamar Jackson, the reason that he has not been able to finish the last 2 seasons, because this year he got injured against the Browns. The pass rush came through, and Jock grabbed him by the ankle, took him out. Last year in the playoffs against the Bills, couldn't finish because the snap went way over his head. So he went to go run to get the ball. And when he was picking it up, the Bills defender came in, whacked him. He fell right on his head. Concussion is done. So the offensive line has to be so much better. It has to be so much better than it has been. And it's up to Ravens to really invest in that offensive line. And also just to get you mentioned personnel, just to really get their pass catchers involved. Too many times, even if a pass wasn't coming his way, too many times we saw fullback, Pat Ricard, going out wide, lining up out wide, and it's like, what are we doing? Why are we wasting it? Too many times we saw Rashad Bateman, and healthy Rashad Bateman, just sitting on the sidelines. There's nothing wrong with him. He's just sitting on the sidelines, especially in that Miami game. But the usage of the personnel has got to be better. It's got to be better. And then everything that we mentioned about Lamar too, with him improving his game, he's got to be better as well. Now we this regular season we saw that Lamar, he got a clutch factor. He certainly got it. He showed it to us in a lot of those games that he played in. And most of them came down like literally to the very end. There was only 2 games, one against the Broncos and one against the Chargers, where they were blowouts. And then the one that he played against the Bengals, where the Bengals blew them out. Those were the only ones that weren't close. But other than that, Lamar showed you like, hey, I got the clutch. I'm with it. But so it's important that now that be shown in the playoffs. But obviously, in order to make to the playoffs, you got to do your thing in the regular season. And I feel like with the Ravens, there is no and it's not in an arrogant way at all. But for me, with the Ravens, there's not really a worry in the regular season as far as them winning enough games to make it to the playoffs. Because I do not like moral victories at all. Hate moral victories in football because they don't get you anything. They get, oh yeah, you tried hard, great, not good enough. Oh yeah, you fought hard, great, not good enough. Oh yeah, the guy showed effort, great, but you still lost. Moral victories, they mean nothing. But the Ravens, the one of the reasons why I don't have any fear of them missing out on the playoffs if Lamar's playing and most guys are healthy is because that's what they do. They know how to win. Lamar Jackson is a winner. He's a proven winner. And even when Lamar Jackson was out, they were still like 1 game out of the playoffs. But coaching was just that's a whole nother conversation. But with Lamar, yeah, they just got to finish, and it's gonna take coaching to finish the right way. It's gonna take Lamar to finish the right way, the offense to finish the right way, and the defense too, to finish the right way, so they won't be the Green Bay Packers of the AFC.
And go ahead, Ross. Go ahead, Ross. Go ahead, Ross. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Byron.
No, because I know you got one more, and then I'm gonna get to something else that I want to get into. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to just repeat what's on the screen. We have the 14th overall pick. And you just mentioned the offensive line. We're not sure about Ronnie Stanley. I know you definitely like Brandon Stevens last year. Odafe Owe played pretty well at times. And Rashad Bateman, of course, could have done a lot more if they would have used him a lot more. But
Yeah.
what position do you think is the most important for this number one overall pick for the Ravens? Do you think it's offensive line? Do you think it's cornerback situation? Because I know Sean Wade definitely should still be on his team, but they traded him away. But what do you think the number one pick should be, or 14th overall?
Um, well, I think right now the most important position for the Ravens is offensive line. Um, and they're gonna go by their draft board. So if they got a pass rusher that's rated high, then and they got him rated higher than the offensive linemen that are available at that time, then they'll go pass rush. Or even if it's an interior defensive lineman, then they'll go that. But I think right now the most important position for them is offensive line, specifically offensive tackle, because Bradley Bozeman, I think he'll be going. I think he'll end up cashing out, making some money somewhere else. But you have a Tristan Colon Castillo there, or you could draft a center. You have Kevin Zeitler at guard. You have Ben Cleveland. He'll have some more experience and he'll be at guard. And then the question marks are at right and left tackle. Left tackle, you have Ronnie Stanley, but will he even play? Will he even be healthy? Even if he does come back, I don't think Ronnie Stanley has played a full season yet in his career. On the other side, you have Patrick McCary, who they did sign to an extension, so he'll be there. But is that the guy that you want to go into the season with as your starting right tackle? He wasn't bad, but you can do better. You also have Jawan James, who hasn't played since 2019. He's a right tackle. You could, roll with him, and he'll be healthy by that time, but you don't know what you have in a Jawan James. So with the tackle position, there's just so many questions. Then you have a Tyree Phillips as well. Now, Tyree Phillips, he started the season at left guard. So he showed you like, oh, okay, well, he's not the tackle that they were hoping he would be. But he may be better on the interior of the offensive lineman. But as of right now, it's looking more like Tyree Phillips is probably going to be a backup for the Ravens. Alejandro Villanueva, who got a lot of attention this year, he was supposed to be your right tackle, but I think the Ravens are going to end up moving off from him. So again, the biggest question mark for the Ravens right now is that offensive tackle. So I think that's where the most important position for them to draft. But one more thing is that when it comes to drafting an offensive lineman, I would hope that the Ravens would draft somebody who specializes in one area of the offensive line. Not somebody, oh, well, this guy, he can play tackle, guard, center. He can play all five positions on the offensive line. No. You need to get somebody that is a great right tackle or great left tackle, not somebody that's good at all these positions, but get somebody that's great at one of these positions.
I agree.
So you can plug them there. That can be where they hit and just roll with it. Because Ravens, they do this thing where they want these guys that, we want a jack of all trades guy, but a master of none. And then they get frustrated or get confused when these guys, they're not performing to a high level. Well, you keep moving them all around in different positions and not where they specialize in. So if they got a guy who is really good at one position, do that and roll with it.
Well, Ingraven, I gotta ask you, just switching gears a little bit. The NFL world was shook up about a week ago when Brian Flores started naming names,
Yeah.
giving the GPS location to where the bodies are, exposing the good old boys club, and pretty much put itself at danger of possibly being a martyr for the black coaches and those of minorities. We see Lovey Smith get hired today by the Texans, whoopee. But your thoughts on the Brian Flores lawsuit and just overall what you think needs to be done moving forward as we are talking sports and blackness here in Black History Month?
Well, that's tough because with Brian Flores, I think he did put some pressure on the NFL, and I think he actually changed some coaching decisions over this last week. Because it's funny that last year, even when David Culley was hired by the Houston Texans, it was known and it was said and it was put out there that they really like Josh McCown. and they really liked him to be a possible head coach. And again, this was last year. So they obviously had a plan in place for Josh McCown. There was some real interest there because it came back around again this year with Josh McCown. They did say that they interviewed him and whatnot. But just today, they ended up hiring Lovie Smith, who was their defensive coordinator. So I do think there was a monkey wrench sort of thrown in those plans with Josh McCown when the whole Brian Flores thing came up. There was another one too. With the Dolphins head coach, I think not Mike McDaniel. That's his name because I keep getting him confused with Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald. But Mike McDaniel, you see how Brian Flores really put pressure on the NFL because he has the NFL really pushing it now and really making sure we know, like, hey, this guy's mixed. He's black and white. There you go. We did it. So he really has the NFL like letting it be known, like, because that wasn't happening before. Wasn't nobody saying that before. Oh, okay, this coach got hired. He's black and white. No, nobody was saying that. And then there's another one. Oh, and one that just got announced today by the Giants. They hired an assistant GM. I forget what his name was, but he was a minority as well. And, you know, the Giants, they were the team that was in the forefront of Brian Flores, his whole suit. Of course, the Dolphins were as well, but the Giants were another one with the whole Bill Belichick text message. Oh, I texted wrong, Brian, my fault. But yeah, he just really put pressure on him. As far as what needs to be done, I'm not even sure. I do with the Rooney Rule. I never liked the Rooney Rule because I feel like it just wastes people's time. Because with the Rooney Rule, that's the rule where if you're making a hiring for the head coach, then you have to interview a minority candidate. But I feel like a lot of teams would just be like, all right, we interviewed the minority candidate, check that off the list. All right, let's get to who we really want to interview now. Unless they do want to hire that minority candidate. But I just feel like it creates a waste of time to bring people through the process who you just really don't have any intention of hiring. And then with them incentivizing when a minority from your organization, from your team gets promoted to go be either GM or go be a head coach somewhere else, and you get the 2 third-round picks. That I thought that was kind of cheesy too. I never really liked that one either. But I think that's the NFL's way of saying, hey, see, we're giving everybody a shot. We're giving everybody a chance. But I think it's very important for teams, for GMs, for coaches to just really realize that players, not even just players, but just minorities, that they can get the job done too. They are capable as well. And I think it's just all about being given the opportunity. I know me personally, I've had experience in past jobs to where I just felt like, man, like they're not giving me a shot. I know I can do it. I know I can do the job, but I'm not getting a shot. So I think it's all about just giving somebody a shot and taking that flyer on somebody, just giving them an opportunity. And of course, you want to look at their body of work, but then at the same time, see, that's where stuff gets tricky too, because a lot of the minorities, when it comes to coaching, they may not have a body of work because they may not have been given the opportunity. So this is where a lot of those coaching and training programs that they have within coaching, they come in apart, because you can have people come up in the ranks. You can have, and this is one thing that the Ravens have done a lot. They just brought back Zachary Order Day, who used to play for them. as a he was a linebacker. He was undrafted in 2014, played for them for 3 years. Then he has a neck or spinal injury that ended his career. But then they allowed him to make the immediate transition. Once he finally officially retired, he was able to make the immediate transition to coaching. You look at Anthony Levine. He just retired a couple weeks ago, and he's been with the Ravens for the longest. He was on their 2012 Super Bowl team. He's been with them for a hot minute. But with him, they allowed him. He retired, and then now immediately he's a scout for the Ravens. So he's getting that opportunity. These guys are getting that opportunity on the coaching staff. So I think that's what a lot of other teams should do. Just let somebody start somewhere. Because that's something like if whenever you apply to a job, you apply to a job in a field that you may have never worked in before, but you feel like, hey, even though I never worked in this field, I'm still capable of doing this. So you go, you send your application in, you send them your resume, then they say, oh, I'll come in for an interview. And then they ask you about your experience. Oh, well, I don't have any experience doing this, but I know I can do it. And they'll look, well, no thanks. We're looking for somebody with experience. But it's like, man, how can I gain the experience if I can't gain the experience? So I think it's important that teams, they allow these guys, these minorities, to get the experience so they can be better suited for the job when it does become available, so they can have a better opportunity of getting one of the jobs when it does come available.
Go ahead, Trey.
Dre, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Dre.
They cut his mic, Ingraven. They cut his mic. They heard what you was preaching over there, brother. They cut his mic. They cut his mic, man. Goodell listening to us, man. We got some power over here.
Hey, we were talking about our sports and blackness conversation, and Lamar Jackson gets compared to Michael Vick a lot. But when we talk about black quarterbacks, also they're also seen not as quarterbacks but as running backs a lot of the time. And how can we shift that narrative? Because, like you were saying earlier, Lamar was seen as somebody who wasn't clutch. They said he couldn't really throw the football, but he's proven people wrong time and time again. So how can other black quarterbacks kind of just change that narrative and are seen as people who are able to play the quarterback position?
You just got to show it. And what's sad is that they will have to do a lot more just to show that, hey, well, maybe this guy is a quarterback. Because with Lamar, and with that comparison, it was always such a lazy comparison because you would hear so much, oh, Lamar Jackson, oh, yeah, he's just like Michael Vick. The only similarities, they just both black and fast, and that's it. And with, like, it's true because with Vic ain't never. I don't even think he ever passed 25 touchdowns in the season as far as passing touchdowns. So that's like the comparison is it should be thrown out the window. Now I did love Vic, but Lamar is he's different from Vic. But of course, again, you see, oh, this quarterback, he can run like really fast, he can shake people. Oh yeah, okay, Michael Vick, there he goes. But yeah, with black quarterbacks to really just sort of get rid of that, it would take everything and then some too, because they'll have to go that extra mile just to prove like, hey, I can throw. Hey, I'm a quarterback. And it's gonna take quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, because we know with Lamar, he was doubted from jump. Teams wanted him to be a wide receiver from jump. And it's gonna take more quarterbacks like, and it's sad. It's sad for them because again, they got to go the extra mile because he didn't run the 40 at the combine because he wanted to be respected as a quarterback, not as a wide receiver, not as a running back. He wanted to be respected as a quarterback. So he's, no, I'm not running the 40. I'm not doing that. And then he's said it plenty of times. He doesn't want to run the ball. He wants to pass the ball. He said that on record in Ravens press conferences quite a few times that he wants to pass. But I think it's important to for the quarterback to prove it, but also for the coaching staff to prove it too. They have to really prove that, hey, we believe in this guy as a passer too. This is why I said earlier, I don't know if the Ravens believe in Lamar Jackson as a passer. That's something that I'm just worried about with their usage of Lamar Jackson. You see so many QB designed runs. You see that so much, and you see too much of it. And that's something right there. You keep seeing these QB design runs, and it's like, Greg Roman looking around, oh, we got a Lamar Jackson. So we can get away with a lot more since we got a Lamar Jackson. Something breaks down, oh, yeah, that brother go and take off. He'll take off and get it first. He'll make a couple people miss and get it first. And then you feel like almost with the Ravens, like, oh, if they may not feel like the investment in the offensive line would be worth it because, all right, if we say we get some okay guys on the offensive line, they let the pass rush come through every once in a while. Oh, Lamar could just make a miss. He got that ability. No, see that's thinking right there. That thinking right there, kid, it's not good thinking at all. You need to protect this guy, protect that investment, protect him as a quarterback, and don't treat him like a running back. So it's with the players themselves, with them having to go the extra mile. The coaches, they have to help out too. And these players, like as far as then, like with Lamar, for instance, with him representing himself, it's him and his mom. He don't have an agent. He has to make sure he does everything in his power to gain that respect. And again, sad that he got to go the extra mile, but that's what they got to do.
Go ahead, Crevonte.
So I just wanted to say the Rooney Rule. I like the intent of the Rooney Rule, right? Mm-hmm. I understand the intent, but the bar was set really low, really, really low. Like you're only 1-2 minorities. So if you're telling that to somebody who already doesn't want to do it, and by those people, I mean like the billion-dollar owners, you set the bar that low, they're going to put it right there. Like however low you set it, that's where they're going to put it. So if we may already have our guy and we're just doing it just to satisfy the Rooney Rule, or we can get him out the way first so we can really get, just kind of going off of what you were saying earlier. I like the intent, but obviously the bar is set really low. And the Rooney Rule is not going anywhere. They're just going to tweak and adjust it. Just wanted to say that. But switching gears real quick. Again, some more football news. Washington, right? 18 months. They had us. I'm not even gonna say they had us. They had me sitting and waiting on pins and needles, trying to figure out what. Because I've been saying, guys, it's gonna be goofy. I just know it's gonna be goofy because once they took out Red Wolves, I was like, oh god damn it, they're gonna do it to me again. They're gonna do it to me again. 18 months we sit here waiting. They come up with the Commanders. I had a video with my fellow Washington fan, Tristan. We did a video last week with our initial thoughts, and I'm still trying to process it. Ingraven, what was your initial thoughts after this year and a half of goofiness?
Initially, I was like, it was just underwhelming. Hearing that the name was going to be the Commanders. It was like, oh, Washington Commanders. Oh, okay. But when you really step back and think about it, it's really not so bad. Because, and it's just going to be one of those things that you just end up getting used to. Because think about different team names that just seem so like effortless. The Cleveland Browns, like they literally picked a color. It's also a last name. It's also just a representation for a dog, but Browns, like the name is just so, it just seems so lazy. And there's nothing special about it. So when you compare that to something like the Commanders, it's like initially, especially after everything that happened, when they first changed the name and they put it to, Washington football team, it's like, what Washington football team? What is that? But then we got used to it. And then it became normal. Then it became second nature. So now with Commanders, it's just something different that threw all of us off initially. But then when you think about it, it's really not that bad.
Well, Ingraven,
Suburban.
they're loving you here on the comments. So shout out to everybody tuning in. Make sure y'all like this video, subscribe, hit that bell, follow IngravenVids. We gotta get your thoughts before we get you out of here. Unfortunately, no, the Ravens aren't playing in the Super Bowl this year, but Super Bowl 56. Never thought I'd say these words. The Cincinnati Bengals
Crazy.
are playing the Los Angeles Rams. We
Crazy.
got the big halftime show. It's in LA, the bright lights, SoFi Stadium, the new gym of the NFL. We want to get your thoughts, Ingraven, to the people of the Super Bowl, what you're looking forward to. It could be the halftime show because that's what I'm looking forward to. And who will win? Because I'm trying to figure out how they're going to fit all of them in 10 minutes. But
Ooh, man.
who your thoughts, your prediction, anything we should be looking out for, and maybe an MVP or a prop bet or something if you want to help the people out at home.
I would just say some good football, man. Straight up. These playoffs, even though the Ravens haven't been playing, I have been enjoying the playoff games a lot. They just had a lot of craziness, man. Had some heartbreaking losses. Probably the two teams I felt the worst for, or the more so the fans, were the Bills and the Cowboys. And the way that they lost in the playoffs was just because it's like with the Bills, you do everything right and then you still lose. With the Cowboys, it's like the last couple of minutes of that game, and there was no closure with that game. Like if Dak Prescott would have threw a game-ending interception, or he would have threw it a Hail Mary and it was incomplete, or he would have been sacked and fumbled and lost the ball, okay. But for it to end on a QB run where he gets the first down and they just run out of time, it's like, oh, that was just painful.
Perfect. That's the Cowboys right there. That's the Cowboys.
But yeah, and the with the Bengals and I think the Rams are gonna win. It could obviously go either way, but it obviously could because it's two different teams playing. But I think the Rams are gonna win. I think Matt Stafford gonna get his, Odell Beckham Jr., Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna end up getting theirs. Von Miller get another one. I think it should be a really good game though. And this game really, not to really bring it back to the Ravens, but it does. I mean, these playoffs have put the Ravens on notice. Like, hey, you need to step it up. Look at the Bengals in your division. They're in the Super Bowl. You need to step it up. But I am looking forward to some good football. Jamar Chase, that dude ain't no rookie. He ain't no rookie. Nope. I don't believe it.
Nope.
He about to win Rookie of the Year, which is deserving, but that dude is not a rookie. He is amazing. Amazing. And Bengals, their trio with Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, those dudes are nice, man. They are nice. So Rams gonna have their work cut out for them, but the Rams running game, and of course Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham Jr., Van Jefferson, they got a nice little trio too now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in this game, the veterans, they'll end up getting it. They'll end up getting it for LA another with two years in a row where the home team is playing at their home stadium. I wish the next Super Bowl was at M&T Bank because maybe then they'd slide the Ravens in there. But anyway,
Hey.
but yeah, man, I'm just looking forward to a good game with the halftime show. I don't know. I'm kind of whatever. I've been whatever about halftime shows for the longest, man.
Who will be your dream halftime performer? I always want a Rihanna, but who will be your dream performer, brother?
Dream performer for a halftime show?
That's right. Ingraven's dream performer.
Take out last year or 2 years ago? I think it was last year.
Last year was the weekend with COVID. I believe.
Then 2 years ago.
Weekend featuring COVID.
I would my dream performances for a halftime show would be Lil Wayne.
Okay.
Outkast.
Okay.
Ooh.
Because I know they had Big Boy like a couple years ago, but that was just like, come on, it wasn't.
Yeah, when they were in Atlanta, they tried to sprinkle that.
That's what it was.
Terrible one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lil Wayne, Outkast, because I never get tired of those two. Well, really those three, since Outkast is Big Boy and Dre 3000. Man, and I mean anybody else after that, like, cause those two, like those are my favorites. Wayne and Outkast, I could listen to them all day, man. and not get tired of their old stuff. Well, they only got old stuff, or at least Outkast. But Wayne and his old stuff, like, yeah, man, that's my guy, man. So,
you know, Drake is gonna be
that would be another one. Drake, yeah, that would be another one. So yeah, him too. Not the kind of performance that he had with Kanye like a couple weeks ago.
The Larry Hoover concert.
I'm like, man, I was working. I was editing videos. I'm like, all right, I'm editing videos. Might as well stay up, watch this little Twitch concert or whatever. It's free. They ain't got nothing else to do. I'm working anyway. All right, cool. I watched it. I'm like, man, what's this?
Drake.
I just turned it off, man. No, we ain't doing this, man.
Hey, everybody, let us know your dream halftime performance in the comments. Ingraven, we appreciate you, brother. Give it up for Ingraven one more time, man. We appreciate you tapping in with us, man.
Man, before he left off, do you think the Ravens will win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson?
Ooh.
I do. I think they can, but will they? I think it just depends on so much, man. If they can change their philosophy and change a lot of the way that they've been doing things, then I think they can and they will for sure. But if they remain stuck in this old school football type of mentality, then no.
All right, fair enough.
The man has spoken. The word is in. Give it up for Ingraven one more time. We appreciate you again, brother. Kicking off our Sports and Blackness series, man. Tell the people how to keep up with you, how to follow you, and any other thing you want to leave with us before you go, brother. We appreciate you.
Just be good to people, man. That's it. That's all I would have to say. Just be good to people. Even when people they try you, because they will. Even when people talk reckless about you, because they will. Even when people disrespect you, and it can be the hardest thing to still be good to them. But at least try, because you never know what people are going through. Everybody got their own situation that they're dealing with, whether it's family issues, work issues, issues with their kid, their spouse, their boyfriend, girlfriend, anything, whatever. Everybody got stuff that they go through on a daily basis. And your interaction with somebody, it could change their mindset for the better, or it could change their mindset for the worse. So know that your words are a lot more powerful than you think. Your interactions with people are a lot more powerful than you think. So make sure you at least try. I know every time it's not going to be one, but at least try to have a positive interaction with somebody when you do have that interaction with somebody, because it goes a long way for you and it could go a long way for them. And you never know what type of impact you'll have.
And I'm glad you said that, Ingraven, because when I had that interaction with you last year, it made my day, man. It really did. And how gracious you were, and just your knowledge on football in general. When I watch your videos, and you're doing the live streams of Ravens games, and sometimes we're losing, and to see your reaction sometimes when we're winning is great. But it brings me joy, man. It brings me joy, and then like every time like there's something going on with Ravens football, like in a minute, like you have a reaction to it, and I'm like, damn, you already got a video about what's going on. It's just the instant knowledge, the instant always being positive, the team keep it clean moniker, of you being accessible to everyone. I really appreciate what you do, man. I appreciate that we have brothers like you, setting the example of hard work and being very knowledgeable about football just in general, because you're awesome, man.
I ain't nothing special, man, but I appreciate you for real, man. And that's another thing too, something that I was talking about earlier. That's why everybody is welcome to the channel, whether you got a lot of knowledge on football or you only got a little bit of knowledge about football, or even if you like me and don't have much knowledge about football at all. And it's important that we don't look down on people just because they may be naive to something, just because they may not know something. Because I hate seeing that when people try to sort of gatekeep and just sort of feel like, oh man, since I know this, or I played before, or I coached before, since I know this, I got this knowledge, I'm better than you, and your opinion doesn't matter because you've never done what I've done in football. You don't know what I know. No, man, We can't get with that, man. So just like I said earlier, try to make every interaction that you have as many as you can possible, because again, it's tough. But try to make every interaction possible, even if you having a disagreement with somebody, whether it be about football, whether it be about whatever. Learn how to disagree and disagree respectfully, because a lot of people that's like a lost art or something like that. Because a lot of people, when they disagree with somebody, they get to getting personal, they get the name calling, they get talking about this and that. It's like, why? For what? What is that gonna get done? Because if you know how to disagree with somebody, then y'all could have a debate, y'all can have an argument or whatever, but y'all can come away having learned something new about the other person's point of view just by listening to them, just by listening to what, even if you don't agree with it, just by listening to them, you could have learned something new from that person. So that's just something to keep in mind, because I know, especially amongst Ravens fans, but it's amongst football fans and just amongst people, period. A lot gets lost, man. A lot gets lost in conversation, in debate, and arguments. And people come away so angry just because they had a disagreement. But you ain't got to do all that. You can come away happy and you can be like, oh, wow, yeah, I disagree with this person, but I learned something about them, or I learned something about their point of view that I didn't know before. So you can come away, instead of coming away angry, you can come away having learned something.
Make sure y'all subscribe to IngravenVids. Hit that bell for all his notifications. Like all his videos. Show him some love. Team, keep it clean. We appreciate you for gracing our presence here on the Flex Zone, kicking off our Sports and Blackness series. And we'll definitely keep in touch with you. And we got to do this again, brother. Hopefully, you'll come back and join us on the Flex Zone.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I appreciate y'all again, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Give it up one more time for IngravenVids joining us here on the Flex Zone. Another illustrious guest here in the virtual studio. Thanks again, Ingraven. You have a good one. Stay blessed, my brother.
All right, y'all too, man. Appreciate it.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it.
Shout
oh, yeah, you good. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we want you to get what you had to say in, brother. He like, look, I'm ready to take this jacket off. Thank you, brother. We appreciate you.
All right.
All right, man. Thanks again, man. We'll talk to you down the line, man.
All right, man. Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Wow. Once again, let's give it up one more time for IngravenVids joining us.
Oh, man, that was awesome, bro.
That was even better than I could have dreamed of, man. Big shout out to Dre, big shout out to Raj, and big shout out again to IngravenVids, and everybody of Team Keep It Clean who's watching the show has dropped a comment, like. If you see the hashtag down below, if you want to support this podcast, hashtag the Flex Zone 1. We greatly appreciate it. If you want to subscribe to our channel, please hit that like button, hit the bell for notifications. We'll keep bringing you great content like this. This is just our first guest. We'll be doing this all month. We do this every Monday, videos weekly, like Crevonte said. He did stuff talking about the Commanders. And let us know what you want to see, any content, more Ravens content for the offseason. We'll be doing mock draft. Bunch of stuff coming to the channel, so make sure you subscribe to be the first to see it. And of course, the Flag Show podcast each Monday night, 10 p.m. But real quick, guys, shout out to Cam. Thank you for tapping in and supporting us as well, man, for your comments.
Hey, Cam,
I want to
see you. If anybody see you, Cam, I see you. All right.
I wanted to get our predictions, get our predictions for the Super Bowl real quick, Dre. I already know who you picking, brother, but I just gotta let the good people who have not watched the show hear your moniker for Super Bowl 56. Who you rolling with, brother?
The Rams. We going all the way, baby. LA. Come on. Let's bring it back home. Baby.
And who's your MVP?
Aaron Donald. Well, I think it's his time.
Weepy Guitar, big shout out to you. Yeah, it's going to be, I think a comment was saying who's going to block him. I don't know. Hopefully Jesus. But Raj, your thoughts on this game and who you think's going to win. And Jerome agrees with you.
All right, fellas. I thought about this and I thought about it very long and hard. But let me just say this, man. The Los Angeles Rams, we already know they have a star-studded, cast of characters. Von Miller, Matthew Stafford, Jalen Ramsey, the guy with the beautiful haircut, Aaron Donald.
How's his hairline look, man?
It looks fantastic, man. But hold up. No, Jerome Bettis came on. I seen him in the commercial. That hairline still looking good as well. That's why I got he got the second best hairline. But no, on a serious note, though, the Rams, they have a great team, man. They have a great team, but I think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to beat them, man. I have a funny feeling that Matthew Stafford's been perfect this whole playoffs. I have feelings he's going to have a Detroit Lion.
Talk to him, Raj.
I think he's going to have a Detroit Lion day, and I think Joe Burrow is going to
Talk
pull
to
it
him,
off,
Raj.
man. I think he's going to pull it off, and I hate to say that as a Ravens fan, as I'm wearing this hat, because I do not want to see that. Everybody that's watching right now, I do not want to see the Cincinnati Bengals win a Super Bowl. That would be a nightmare for me. But I just think they got something special, man, and I think Joe Burrow he's just on another level right now, and Jamar Chase, like Ingraven said, he is not a rookie. He is definitely not a rookie. He is playing some fantastic football, and just that wide receiving core in general is just very hard to deal with. I know Jalen Ramsey's on the Rams, but it's like you don't have two other Jalen Ramseys on the team, so.
Right.
I just think that they're going to upset the Rams, come the Super Bowl, man. And I don't want them to win. No, don't. I do not want. I want the Rams to win. I'm letting y'all know. I want the Rams to win, but I think Cincinnati's going to be too much for them, man. I think Cincinnati's going to pull it off, and I hate to see it.
Who's your MVP, real quick?
My MVP is going to be, if the Cincinnati does win, it has to be Joe Burrow. It has to be.
Shout out to Bless Brian. Wanted to shout you out, brother. You've been rocking with us since we hit live, since we started. We see you, brother. We appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We always love your input and love you being a part of the show, being part of the Flex Zone family. Thank you here. Crevonte, are you agreeing with Raj that the real Matthew Stafford may show up? You've been saying it's coming.
Listen, and the fact that it hasn't come yet means it's on its way. It is on its way. We're not going to forget how midway through the year leaning towards the end, right before that streak, Matthew Stafford wasn't looking good. Was not looking good. I'm like, I knew he didn't fall. I knew it's still in him. That Detroit, it's still in him. And the fact that he's had such a great playoffs, I mean, the one against the Bucs was a little but he did enough to win, which is important. But I think that Matthew Stafford game is coming. The one that I foresee is definitely coming. Macaulay Culkin over there that's playing quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Moneybag Joe.
He about to be lost in LA. He about to be lost all over LA. It's probably, that's what I think is about to come. I think they're gonna have a nice mix. They're gonna have a nice mix of a run and pass. Joe Mixon. We're gonna need them to have a big game because one thing the Rams don't do well, over the playoffs, they've done better than they did during the regular season, is play the run. With those pass rushes, Von Miller ain't playing nobody's run. Aaron Donald not trying to play nobody's run. Leonard Floyd ain't trying to play nobody's run. They trying to rush the passer. But if you give it to Joe Mixon, you got to keep him honest. Get a little play action pass, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, you know how it goes because Jalen Ramsey has been getting beat lately. Has been getting beat.
He don't want
a
no
lot
smoke
lately.
with Jamar.
But,
He don't want no smoke with Jamar. He don't want no smoke with Jamar. And
listen,
I love
speaking
Jalen
of
Ramsey.
smoke, speaking of smoke, Dre, get them cigars, baby. Get them cigars, baby. You know what's gonna come. You know what's coming. When that confetti falls.
Hold up. We are in LA. They are 420 friendly America. Yes. Just letting you know.
Listen, brother.
Jesus.
It's something about Macaulay Culkin, Joey franchise, Smoking Joe,
Joe Cool.
Moneybag Joe.
Joe Frazier.
It's something about him, man.
Joe Beasy.
It's something about him, man. I don't know. He's on this magical run, and it's like, bro, right until wheels fall off. You playing with house money at this point because all the pressure's on the Rams and Matthew Stafford. Joe Burrow just got here. I'm playing with the house money.
Who's your MVP? Joe B, right?
I agree with Roger. I believe if the Cincinnati Bengals win, it's gonna be Joey. It's gonna be Macaulay Culkin.
Okay.
Because he has so many weapons. Unless Jamar,
Crevonte, here you go.
Joey! I I think because he has so many weapons, unless like Jamar Chase has like 200 yards receiving, it will be Jamar Chase or one of his receivers. But I think it'll be Joey if for them to win.
Y'all know I've been on the Bengals all year. Now, I think the Rams are the better team. I just think the Bengals are playing better right now. They're just that team of destiny, it seems like. And Crevonte, it's funny you mentioned the Packers because it kind of reminds me of that first Super Bowl for Aaron Rodgers, where nobody really, they were, they snuck into the playoffs. They played every game on the road. The Bengals hadn't won a playoff game in over 30 years, have never won a road playoff game. He gets sacked 9 times. They're down 21-3 to the Chiefs and the tribal chief in Arrowhead. They come back and win that game. His tight end gets hurt. The offensive line is terrible. The defense looks like the second coming of the 2000 Ravens in the second half against Mahomes, rushing three and stopping that offense. Tyreek Hill, no catches. I just think that I'm taking the over if you're betting. Give me the Bengals and the points. And I'm going with the Bengals to win a close one on the last second. Evan McPherson field goal. Reminds us of another kicker here, Raj. Reminds of a young Justin Tucker, too. I think the conditions will be
God.
ideal. I think it will be attract me. I think the Rams will put up their points, and I think Donald will get his sacks. But I just think whoever has the ball last, one, and I think the team that can run the ball better, which I think will be the Bengals, because I think they have a top 5 running back in Joe Mixon and a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield when you pay attention to Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Boyd and Uzama. So I'm going with the Bengals, man. I think it just feels like they're just a team of destiny. And it may not be the better team on paper because the Rams are the super team. They got Odell, they got Stafford, they got Donald, Von Miller, Floyd, Ramsey, and bring back Eric Weddle. They got the boy wonder head coach. I think that the Rams fall short, and I think Matthew Stafford throws a couple picks. I think at least 2 picks.
It's coming.
Oh,
It's
God,
coming.
please don't let that.
It's coming, baby. It's coming.
I go hit
And like I said, they better not put Jalen Ramsey on Jamar Chase and think that's going to work. It will not work. They're better off doubling him and letting Jalen Ramsey go against T. Higgins or somebody.
Yeah, and I think honestly, I think that's what they're going to do because, like you said, right now, if you put Chase 1-on-1, he's going to beat you. So I think that, like you said, I think that's going to be the Rams' game plan going in. And I don't think that Matthew Stafford has had a great playoff run, but I think he's had a decent playoff run. And I think that I think he'll do just enough to help them. I think really when it comes to this, you have to rely honestly heavily on the defensive side. I know offensively they got OBJ, they got Cooper Kupp. So the Rams, they do have weapons there. But I think that in this particular game, because the Bengals the same way, they've had games where they've been on a roller coaster ride too. They've just been able to be. They've recently come with a hot streak, but I just think that the veterans. I think this is one of those times when the veterans, that veteranship is going to actually be in favor up until I thought that the Chiefs game was when that kind of like young boy thing would fare out because they the new kids on the block, but I think that this is just a bad matchup for the Bengals. We knew it was possible for them to beat the Chiefs. That's why they could walk in there and just be like, even though they were down, they were saying, okay, they felt like they could beat the Chiefs, in which they did. They came back on them before. So for them, it was just like, we've been down before, we can do this again. But I think in this case with the Rams, I think it's just a bad matchup. Had this been somebody else in the Super Bowl, I may have favored the Bengals over them. But I just feel like the Rams just have a little too much to be able to combat them, especially with their additions of Von Miller, Aaron Donald. I think that they just, I think they just put so much in to the point where it's like this is one of the times when you put all the chips in and they all in this year. So for them, it's like a make or break. I think that this is their year to get it done.
And I hope you're right, Dre.
Go ahead, Raj.
No, I was gonna say I hope you're right because I think they did this about 3 years ago when they played the Patriots. They had like a star-studded lineup of guys. Todd Gurley was on the team, and they fell flat, against the Patriots. So hopefully they learned their lesson since then, and hopefully they have a great showing at the Super Bowl. They are at home. They do have the home field advantage. I mean, even the act is from California, Dr. Dre. So, I mean,
Snoop Dogg,
they have
Dogg too.
Snoop Dogg too.
Kendrick
So they
Lamar.
have and Kendrick Lamar. So they have the home field. I need them to get it done. That's all I need. I just need them to get it done because if Joe Burrow wins this championship ring first in this division, it's already going to be hell, for the Ravens when they have to play them next year and for years to come. But if he has one up on Lamar Jackson, Lord have mercy.
Gosh, I'm gonna hate that.
It is going to be chaos for the Ravens. Us Ravens fans. Let's just say that.
Oh, where is Eminem from?
Detroit.
Eminem's from
That means Matthew Stafford's coming. Thanks, guys.
Oh, don't you start.
Shut up.
Don't you
Thanks,
start.
Thanks, guys.
Well,
Thanks.
Everybody, if you're watching this video right now, it's a big announcement. We want you guys to know we will be doing a post-game show immediately following the big game on Sunday here on this YouTube page. We will have it previewed and set up. So subscribe, hit that like button, tap in with the Flex Zone. You'll get that notification. We'll be live directly following the game. The game probably ends around 10:30, 11, so probably a little bit after 11. You will see our beautiful faces again, as we will not have a show next Monday. Make sure you take your lady out. Valentine's Day, fellas. But make sure you tap in with us. Flex Zone, Super Bowl post-game show live on the YouTube channel. We would love for you guys to come back and talk the big game with us, see where we were right, where we were wrong, as we crown a new NFL champion. But before we get out of here, we got a very special segment. And Crevonte, for the people who may not know what Goofies of the Week is, let them know what they're about to witness.
Oh boy, the joys of goofiness. So, I have Goofies of the Week is when me and with collection of you guys send me stuff throughout the week, or I come across things throughout the week, and the following show I talk about the goofiness of whatever happened. I just had a video at the end of the year. Well, a video last month about last year's Goofy of the Week. I did the top 3, and during the show, I have a segment called Goofies of the Week. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's however many I could fit in. I try my best to keep it short because I ain't trying to have people up all night, but Goofies of the Week is usually, for the most part, it is funny. I have a high-level Goofy and a low-level Goofy. We called this Falcon Red, but it was Chiefs Red last week. And I have Jet Green because the Jesper Goofy all year last year. So this week I have just one. I actually have a couple videos. I hope it plays. It was acting funny when I was testing it.
Explain what's going on, Crevonte.
So there's guys actually measuring the rim. I was watching last Friday. I was watching the Dallas Mavericks and the I believe the 76ers. I believe it was the Philadelphia 76ers game. And
that was the game.
Luka Doncic had made a 3-pointer and then pointed to the rim like, it's not even. Game stopped. The referee was like, oh, snap. It's not even. So they bring out the entire custodial crew to bring out the one that they keep it centered and stuff and all that. And the rim was indeed not even. So you know what they did? They tried their best to make it even. And they almost succeeded if it wasn't for, God damn it, the backboard being uneven too. What the hell? So there was a small shot of another entire basketball court who being in the tunnel. but like at the beginning of the tunnel that I'm sure nobody even looks at. But it's like, wow. So the basketball run was uneven. They fixed that, and now the backboard's uneven. What are we going to do? These guys broke down the entire backboard, like unplugged the shot clock, unscrewed it, brought it all down, made it come all the way to the bottom. For those of us that stayed long after like basketball games, they do bring the basketball hoop down and they do remove them because there are like wheels underneath of it. They take all that down and remove the basketball hoop and bring the hoop that's in the tunnel to replace that hoop. Guys, I was in such amazement. I was like, there is no what. When are they going to start playing again? And this happened in the first quarter. They were halfway through the first quarter. They took 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
To get that back up and running. Because all the goofiness, the early goofiness was them trying to fix the first issue. Then they found out, oh no, it looks like we're making this worse. Bringing the other basketball hoop. Unplug everything. Have y'all ever seen people? It looked like a bunch of construction workers and like the video was sped up. Because they like the shot clock comes down, the basketball hoop comes down, and it goes away. And now they bring that out. I say, wow, that is amazing. I can't believe y'all goofies played this game and this room was uneven for 6 minutes. I said, oh, the NBA taking a shot for this one. They ain't taking a shot for this one because them boys, everybody was cold. After that 40-minute wait, folks had to stretch all over again. They had to warm up. Had to warm up all over again, like it was the beginning of the game. Because everybody was like, and we saw Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers, you know how I hate his line, how I hate his lineup with no hair. No, I hated it. I hate it. It was shining more because I hated the situation that he was in. The goofy face that he was making, I was like, your hair. Oh, your head, your scalp is showing. Damn it. Very, very annoying. But there was another video. Hold up. I want to see. I don't know if I caught it. I don't think I think I stopped. Okay, I stopped recording at that time. But the big guy that plays for the Dallas Mavericks, Mo Bamba, he actually grabbed the rim and tried to help him fix it. It was out of line. It was too much. It was entirely.
Oh yeah,
too
it was
much.
Boban.
Like,
Boban. Boban. Yeah, Boban.
Boban. Without even standing on his tippy toes, he was kind of jiggling it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is."
What
goofy.
Shaq say? You rang.
Beyond goofy. And I said, "Ooh, I don't know whose fault this is, but somebody's head got to roll for this one. Somebody got to go. Somebody got to go." But that's. And I don't even know. I don't even know who to blame though. Do I blame the people that put out there? Because I hate to believe that they put an uneven rim out there. I hate to believe that. And then it's like the refs, the commentators, like Luka Doncic, the actual basketball player, after a made 3-pointer, was like, wait a minute. Something's off. And then everybody looked like, oh snap. He's right. Beyond goofy. I don't know who to blame. This Mark Cuban, this is on you, baby. I guess. This is on you, Mark. Laugh and stop. 40 minutes, man. They had a halftime. That was the halftime before the halftime. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. But eventually they got back to the game, and that game ended around 2 a.m. Too much, entirely too much. So yeah, needless to say, I don't think it was many people that that stayed up to watch the ending to that game. But that's my lone goofy of the week. I don't even know who to blame. So when you don't know who exactly to blame, you just look at the top. Mark Cuban, it's on you, Blair. I don't know what happened, but this happened on your watch in your building. Uh, and I like Mark Cuban, so I hate to blame him because I'm sure this wasn't really his fault, but he's in charge, so it's on you, brother. Big time Goofy. I love a Goofy. Y'all know my line. There's a thin line between Goofy and great, and the Dallas Mavericks custodial staff was on the wrong end of it. Got to do better. Got to do better.
Thank you for the goofies of the week, Crevonte. Big shout out to Giovanni. Do we want the Ravens to move for Kyle Hammonds? I think he'll be gone within the top
No,
5 to 7 picks. So I don't think they'll get him. He'll
no.
be way gone. He'll be long.
Come to
Even though I would take him as high as maybe 3 or 4. Crevonte, what about you?
He's good. That boy's good.
Yeah.
That boy's good. He's really good.
That boy good.
And we also don't have any safety prospects that high either.
Make sure you subscribe, brother. Subscribe and like the video. Thank you for the question. So that does it for episode 330 here on the Flex Zone. Dre, what can the people look forward to as we move forward to Sports and Blackness picking up after the Super Bowl?
Like you said, we're going to do a post-game show. No show next week. So, fellas, enjoy your time with your lady. Valentine's Day for ladies. Happy Valentine's Day for y'all. The week after, though, we're going to continue our Sports and Blackness conversation with Sean Yos and then Carlos Aver. We're going to close out with those two gentlemen right there.
Ooh, nothing but illustrious guests. Everybody that tuned in and watched this video, thank you. Make sure you hit that bell for notifications, hit that thumbs up, like the video, and subscribe. Raj, tell them how to keep up with us and all the things we got going on the YouTube channel.
Oh, once again, shout out to Ingraven for coming to the show. That was an awesome show with him. So, guys, if you haven't seen it, it will be up. So please check it out. He was with us for almost an hour and 10 minutes. So it was great to see. But if you want to see more of our content, if you're enjoying the content, the Flex Zone podcast on YouTube, Crevonte, get that goofy guy off the screen. Get him off the screen. The Flex Zone podcast on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the bell, for notifications. We not only do we do Ravens football, we do football in general. We even talk WWE, and we also do a lot of other things sports related. So please,
we do watch
check out
alongs. I might do one this week.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we do live streams as well. We did the Royal Rumble in January. Crevonte, stop. Hey, what's going on, Brian? You late.
Hey, hit that bell, like and subscribe.
Brian, run it back.
Run it back. Run it back right now.
Run it back. But yeah, man, we got a lot more stuff coming. Super Bowl post game show this Sunday. We're gonna do it big because that's what we do. So yeah, you could tell them some other things, Byron, that we do.
Yeah, at the Flex Zone 1, the FlexZone1 at gmail.com. Ideas, sponsorships, want to be part of this experience, want to be a guest even, sit in the hot seat, be in the man cave with us here on the Flex Zone. The only place, fellas, giving you sports how you want it.
When
you need it.
We were rocking and rolling in the venue. Had over 50 people. If you want to donate to our cause, support what we're doing, see more videos like this, hashtag the Flex Zone 1. We greatly appreciate it. Like I said, Flex Zone post-game show for the Super Bowl this coming Sunday evening. Stay tuned to that YouTube. Hit the bell for notifications. Subscribe. You'll see a lot more of that. We'll do some previews for that this coming week. Run this video back. See the Ingraven interview in its entirety. Like Rod said, he was with us for over an hour. The executive producer, the man to my bottom left, Andre Melton. You can catch him each and every day, 7 a.m. with a cup of Dre, WEAA 88.9. Crevonte, senior producer, captain of the Goofy ship. You want to see more Goofies? Check out his videos and let him know that you want to see a Commanders report during the football season where he talks about his Washington Commanders and so much more. Raj on social media as always, coming up with those thumbnails, promoting everything, making it look beautiful. I'm the host with the Moist, God's favorite host, Byron Dixon. We're here every Monday, 10 p.m. again. Next Monday, no show, but we got the Flex Zone post game show immediately following the Super Bowl. Come to us first for your live reactions for all the Super Bowl highs and lows, the good, the bad, the ugly, the halftime show, what you like, you didn't like. We'll talk about it all. Even the commercials will be with you for a little bit on Sunday night. And as always, for Dre, for Raj, for Crevonte, once again for Ingraven, shout out to him and all of you watching at home, hit that like button again. Subscribe. And if you want to donate, hashtag the Flex on One. We only place giving you sports how you want it.
When you need it.
And once again, the Sports and Blackness series continues in 2 weeks. But until then, on Sunday night, you may see me before then. Stay tuned to the channel. We gone.
We out of here. Peace.
The Rams, the Rams, the Rams.
Enjoy the Super Bowl. Be safe. Double mask up. Black Lives Matter. And always stay tuned to the Flex Zone to keep it up with all your hottest sports topics. Thank you for everybody in the venue. Like it, share, subscribe, drop your comments. We'll be back real soon this week. And we'll be back Sunday night for that Super Bowl post game show. Thank you guys. Love you. Appreciate you, Flex Zone family.